And so one of my friends who struggled with chronic illness introduced me to an emotion code practitioner. And I had a session with her and felt this miraculous lift of my depression. I'd never felt so light after this session, and continued on and just saw these issues, these struggles, these addictions just fall away in my life almost effortlessly.
Welcome to Conversation for the Soul. I am Linda Christine, and today we have Laura Chappell. Welcome, Laura. So nice to have
Thank
you
you so
here.
much. So happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. So, Laura, go ahead and let people know a little bit about what you do, and then I want to see how that all unfolded for you.
Okay. So I'm an emotion code practitioner. An emotion code is an energy healing technique by Dr. Bradley Nelson. It utilizes the use of electromagnetic energy to release trapped emotions. So we all have negative trapped emotions stored within our body that contribute to physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual discomfort. And so when we identify and release these trapped emotions, which we use applied kinesiology or muscle testing to find these emotions and then release, you just feel so much better. You feel lighter. It can help you with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual issues. And it changed my life. I also am um, certified in Reiki as well. So I utilize Reiki in my practice if people are open to that. If not, they just stick with straight emotion code. And it's a beautiful, beautiful energy healing technique.
I have to say that emotion code was pretty fascinating for me because you don't know me and you offered me this session. We just did a real quick so I could understand a little bit about what it is that you do. And you
Yeah.
hit two key areas of my life. Like you picked the age that I was
Yes. Yes.
when those things happen. How do you get so accurate?
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm connecting to the client's subconscious. Our subconscious is a giant supercomputer that holds every piece of information that our conscious self doesn't always remember. So we don't remember eating dinner as a 5 year old, but something could have happened that was traumatic during that dinner that got stored within our body and has been there since we were 5 years old. So as I'm connecting to your subconscious, because we are all energy, our thoughts are energy, our feelings are energy, this table's energy, everything is energy, and we are all connected. So it's amazing to be able to connect remotely. I mean, you're in Florida, I'm in Oklahoma, so I connect with people all over the world to identify and release these trapped emotions for them, contributing to their issues. But yes, you connect to the subconscious. So basically your subconscious is guiding me. I'm using muscle testing and finding the emotions through muscle testing. It's kind of
Wow.
similar to Chinese medicine, applied kinesiology, and yes, that is how we do it.
That is so fascinating to me because it really was so accurate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you even cited at those ages, this is what happened to you. And I was
And
like,
for me,
holy
when I'm connected, I will get, yes. So I will get a sense of what that emotion ties to. Not every emotion code practitioner has that happen, but I get a sense of maybe this was from a father figure or possibly a breakup or a divorce, or it just kind of a sense I get a knowing essentially during sessions. And so I ask my clients, do you want me to share what my feelings are? Because I don't have to do that if you just want your report and go about your merry way. But usually clients want me to share everything that I'm feeling. And it's been pretty amazing to pinpoint those spots in their life.
I've
And it was
always,
always so accurate. When I got my sessions, mine were spot on, and I was amazed just like you were until I learned more about it and started practicing, and it's just amazing what comes up. It really
I,
is.
I feel like I've always said yoga and Reiki are kind of the gateway to the spiritual community.
Yes, and yoga was one of my gateways for sure. I just did a yoga class right before this. So, yeah, it is. I agree with that completely. I feel like a lot of spiritual healers say that, especially they start out with Reiki.
And in just experience that very short session that we had, I feel like Laura has a lot of abilities that are yet to be tapped into.
Yes. So I had a spiritual awakening 2019, 2020. So I'm fairly new and my abilities are coming online for sure. And I'm just kind of newly tapping into it all. And it's been such a beautiful journey and learning from so many people, so many amazing healers. I met you through Millie America, who's amazing. She's incredible as well. So just meeting so many people along the way, and it's just kind of unfolding so beautifully, just alignment.
So perfect. Now, would you mind sharing your awakening with us? Because the reason why I love doing these podcasts is because everybody's story has a lesson in it for those
Yes.
who have yet to step into this space. What is your story? How did this happen for you?
So it really happened where I started to realize that I deserved more, and in a specific relationship that I was in and marriage. And so I left that, and I left the marriage, and essentially my whole world fell apart. After that, as a lot of times you have these awakenings, it happens. Lots of my friends fell away, and just I lost my job, and so many things happened all at once that really made me look hard within myself and go searching for that deep healing and inner child healing. I struggled with so many things. I struggled with anxiety, very deep depression, an eating disorder, body image, self sabotage, so many things in my life that I wanted to fix, but I didn't know how. It felt very impossible to me. Like it felt like an impossible mountain to climb. And so one of my friends who struggled with chronic illness introduced me to an emotion code practitioner. And I had a session with her and felt this miraculous lift of my depression. I'd never felt so light after this session, and continued on and just saw these issues, these struggles, these addictions just fall away in my life almost effortlessly, really. I mean, I was definitely digging and doing the healing and tapping into myself, but also something about this healing was so gentle. I did not have to relive any of my trauma. That's the beautiful thing about the emotion code. I think there's such a place for talk therapy, but with the emotion code, you don't have to relive anything you've been through. It is just identified and released. Similarly to, so our emotions have a charge, um, an electromagnetic charge. And so if you think about a magnet wiping out a credit card, wiping out that information on a credit card, I use a magnet to essentially cancel out the charge of that emotion. So during a session, I'm swiping a magnet over my governing meridian. And the meridians are the energetic veins and arteries in your body. It's used in Chinese medicine. So the governing meridian starts at the top of the lip, goes over the head, all the way down to the base of the spine. And so once we identify this trapped emotion, let's say that it's sadness, I'm going to swipe over my governing meridian. This is a magnet. It's a chart with all the emotions. It's probably backwards. And so I've identified sadness. I'm going to hold the intention to release it. And that intention is magnified by the magnet and it releases from the client. And it sounds too good to be true, but I have seen dozens and dozens of my clients personally just results. So I kind of lost my train of thought of my story. But yes, I had these miraculous sessions and just had to learn more about what this was. So I bought the book, which the book is beautiful because it teaches you how to do it yourself. So if you don't have the funds to have a practitioner do it for you, you can learn the technique yourself. And so I learned it and then I started practicing on friends and family. It felt very natural for me. And then I decided to get certified so that I could help so many people because when you live with deep depression where you can't even get yourself to shower, get yourself out of bed. And I had children, so it was even, my demands were even more in the day. Um, when you live with that and then it releases and it's gone and you feel like a whole new person, I just want to help as many people find that freedom that I found through this technique.
What would you say if somebody said, well, Laura, that technique sounds a little bit like spiritual bypassing? How would you respond to that?
Okay. I would say that, I mean, that's a good question. And I think that everyone's feelings are valid, but I would say give it a shot because you never know what you could experience, And I do think that it's super important for us to do the work as well. You also have to learn to feel your feelings. That's why these feelings are trapped, is because either it was just too intense for our body to process or the processing got interrupted. For instance, let's say you were at work and you really needed to release anger or crying and you couldn't because you're at work. And so that just gets trapped in your body. These energies are lodged in different parts of our system. And if these energetic blocks are not released, which you can release them through so many different healing modalities, even yoga releases trapped emotions, movement, somatic healing, Reiki, so many different options. But this is just the one that was that worked for me. So I say explore and try different things and see what works for you. Because what works for me might not work as good for you. You know what I mean? You have to find kind of your avenue of healing and what resonates.
Now, our subconscious mind sometimes blocks memories of traumatic
Yes.
events. Have you had
Yes.
any clients who did not even remember a trauma and then
Yes.
perhaps this brought it forward? What kinds of things play out in that regard?
Yes, a lot of times I mean, me personally, I have years of my life I don't remember. So some of that has come forward after emotion code sessions. It can unlock that. And a lot of times it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't affect the healing if you don't remember the event. So if you can't connect that emotion to that event, because if you think about it, we have hundreds of emotions every day. And so you're not always going to remember when you felt anger at age 15. I mean, every 15-year-old feels anger, But then there's a lot of times where there's a cluster of emotions, like in your report, where it has a certain theme and it usually does tie to one specific event that was just so stressful and traumatic, really, for our system to process.
Yeah, yeah. When I was 15, I was taken advantage of by a boy, without my consent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would not say I was raped, but I was sexually assaulted, so to
Assaulted.
speak. And I don't share that with anyone. I don't even know that my husband knows that. So the fact that you were able to tap into that and tell me that was mind blowing. And I didn't think I was carrying that with me.
Mm-hmm. I know. And there's a lot of things that sometimes I have other practitioners still work on me and you feel like you're past it, but it doesn't mean that it's not still living within your body, in your energetic system in your field.
Wow, wow, this is fascinating. So this Dr. Bradley Nelson,
Mhm.
do you know how this modality came to be? How would you even discover such a thing?
Well, he was a chiropractic doctor and um, the full story is evading me, but essentially it was through prayer and meditation that he discovered it. And he started practicing on his clients and then he started to refine it. And this goes even deeper. There's body code. Now there's belief code. He has very, even more in-depth systems of healing as well. I haven't gotten certified in body code, but I do utilize it with friends and family. And it's just an incredible form of healing. And he just got information from, he says, God and in meditation and prayer.
Hmm.
And the book
There's,
is forwarded by Tony Robbins, which is really cool as well.
oh, that is neat. There's
Hmm.
something about what you were saying that feels like it aligns. Have you heard of theta healing at all?
I've heard of it, but I'm not super educated about it.
It's working on um the soul level, the body level. Oh my gosh, my theta teacher would be embarrassed. I can't even remember, but it's on multiple levels. It's even a generational kind of thing.
Yes.
So this
Mhm.
this feels like this is more of the physical version of that, perhaps, and theta
Yes.
healing is more of the expanded version of that. It's very
Oh, I'll
fascinating.
have to look
This
into that.
feel.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love.
yeah, look into it. I'd be curious to
Mhm.
see what you think about that because they feel
Okay.
like they might mesh really well.
Yes. And you mentioned one thing, you mentioned kind of the inherited emotions. This actually does go into that as well. We have trapped inherited emotions that can go multiple generations back. So sometimes we will find an inherited emotion. And what's really cool about that is that it releases not only from you, but also anyone that it's tied to, children or parent or grandparent or anyone um, living. So it's
And
really cool.
theta
And that's
healing
the
does
only way.
that.
Yeah, and that's the only way that you can work on someone without their permission. Because I can never work on a client. Like if a client wants her husband worked on, I have to have his permission. It's just ethics.
Yeah, and that seems fair.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
even with tapping into somebody,
Yeah, it's just without their consent. It's just
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't, you're taking away something there. I was curious because you kind of intuited what I was going to ask next is about the past lives. Do we
Mhm.
carry traumas from past life? Like, let's say I was beheaded in a past life and something was just coming up around that. Would you be able to figure
Yeah.
that out?
I personally believe that yes, we do. The emotion code in particular does not go into that. But my own personal beliefs, I do believe that. So, but I'm not at a place where that's not my area of expertise by any means. But I do know I have done a past life regression and do know some really amazing past life regressionists as well, if people are interested. It's a really cool thing to experience.
And I say this all the time. I feel like there are so many modalities that as we move forward in consciousness that we are going to start blending all of these things. Like
Yes,
let's say
absolutely.
Laura does this emotion code and then she adds theta healing to it and then she does some past life regression and
Yes.
it's not all siloed. You're intermingling all
Yes.
these modalities.
I'm also
You,
very into sound healing as well. I think that sound healing is incredible. Tuning forks, sound bowls, just frequency work. It all
yeah.
intertwines for sure.
It really does. And it's like going to a general practitioner.
Yes.
They know the overall scope of all of this stuff, and then,
Hmm.
they just kind of bring forward whatever you might need to work on in a specialty, perhaps. So
Absolutely.
you have children, correct?
I do. I have three.
Okay. Do you do this on your children?
I do. I do. And I have seen big results. I have one child on the spectrum, and she has overcome so much. And I'm not going to say that it's just this work because it's been a big time combo of getting out of a stressful environment for her, out of my last marriage, and into a more kind of stable. Also, me just being happy and not depressed anymore, and so many things that she was taking on as a little girl. Um, but she has grown so much. I'm able to release a lot of triggers, like specific triggers and emotions trapped around that have really helped her. And I've noticed a huge change. And a lot of times I'll do this work on her during a meltdown, and I can just watch her body calm down. So it's been really amazing using on my kids.
Wow. I have my youngest is Asperger's, and
Oh yes,
it would be so nice to have had something like that as he was growing
yes.
up. He's a young adult now. What kinds of things? Because I feel like these children on the spectrum, they're super sensitive and they're
Super.
super in tuned. They just
Hmm.
don't have the means to be able to communicate those things. Um,
Yes.
what's your take on that and how this emotion code helps with that?
For her, I feel like she had a lot of trauma in her body. I feel like I had a very stressful pregnancy. Um, and I just, like with her in particular, I feel like she is very open spiritually, but doesn't, she didn't have the language to communicate it. And I, I don't know. I mean, now she does. Now she's 8 years old now. So she is able to, we don't talk about that in particular, but she is able to communicate with us. And now we're talking about feelings and feeling our feelings and things. But I feel like the emotion code in particular has helped her with taking out the trauma and the trapped emotions of living in a really conflicted household where she was feeling everything, and we didn't even know she was feeling anything because she wasn't speaking. I wasn't as aware as I am now. And she just took so much on. So releasing those trapped emotions that were stored within her body, and there can be absorbed trapped emotions as well. For a highly sensitive individual, they can absorb, I can release absorbed trapped emotions. So a child absorbing it from their parents, or a partner absorbing it from, their partner, or even I work with animals. So even animals absorbing emotions from their owners. Um, so I can tell a difference after every single session with her in particular.
Oh, let's talk about the
Just a
animal
calming.
thing.
Yes, I love working with animals. Love
Oh
it.
my gosh, if I would have known that, I would have said, work on my cat, not me.
Well, and usually just because I love working with animals so much, if someone buys a session or a package from me, I usually offer to do their animal for free. So just for anyone interested in trying this out, I love working on animals.
Share some
I
animal
will work on your
stories.
cat.
Share some
So what
stories.
is
What?
Okay. So I worked with a lot of adopted dogs or rescue dogs. And so rescue dogs can come from very traumatic backgrounds. I had a friend who had a cat named Bella who she rescued. And she would constantly meow. It was like an anxious, never stopping meow anytime she wasn't sleeping. And so I did a session, the first session after, released a lot of panic, a lot of terror. She was in I believe a hurricane. I can't remember the year or what's going on with that. I worked on her a long time ago. But anyway, she was super panicked. She stopped that meowing after one session. I've worked on animals with separation anxiety, even allergies. I've helped with skin issues. Um,
Ooh, how does that work? How do you fix a physical condition like an
Well, a
allergy?
lot of times it can be inflammation in your body from these energetic blocks or trapped emotions. Yes, and the body code, like I said, is more in depth, and you can release like a physical allergy. You can release an allergy to grass and ask the body to release the reaction to that allergen. And so, um, and I also have helped with my friend's cat who had poor lungs and would wheeze, and now she doesn't wheeze anymore. So I love working on animals. It's amazing. They're almost less resistant because you, you know, they don't have the human mind. And so the results with animals are always just amazing.
Oh, that human mind messes everything up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. If someone's super, super skeptical, it's not saying that it won't work, but our minds are powerful. And if you truly believe something is not going to work, it probably isn't going to work. But if you're open, even if you're slightly skeptical, I think it's good to be skeptical about things. It's good to research. It's good to find what resonates with you. But being open is important I feel like in anything, even if you're taking a supplement, if you think it's not going to work, your mind is powerful.
Well, yeah, the placebo effect is proof of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have
Our
you
thoughts are powerful.
Have you worked with any people that perhaps they got better for a little bit and then they slipped back because they were so programmed to believe that, this really can't work?
So actually, usually when the symptoms come back, and I usually tell people this my first session. So I've worked with a lot of, let's say, headaches or an issue that someone is dealing with every day, like a GI issue or whatever. If they get relief for a week or two and the symptoms come back, that's not usually them doubting it. It's usually showing you that there's another layer to release. It's like your body talking to you. It's like, okay, we've got relief here, but there is more there. Because usually, a chronic issue is not going to be fixed in one session. It's kind of like you can't work out once and get abs. It's a process, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was a personal trainer for 10 years as well. So I love the human body. I love I'm just fascinated by our system in general.
Oh, the body it is so fascinating. I know I've shared this story before, so I'll be very quick with it, but I went through cancer treatment in 2013 and then gosh, I started my book probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Well, I was writing my book and putting it together, and all of a sudden I started to have symptoms. My stomach really started acting up again. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't tell my body that I was just writing a book about the experience. My body
Oh,
felt like it was
wow.
starting to go back into that experience. And
Wow.
yeah, so I had to take a break for a while and just sit with my body and
That is
tell it.
amazing. Yeah. Like this is just me writing my experience.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'd love to read your book.
it's
I'm gonna have to buy
powerful.
your book.
I will send you a copy. Um, wow. Okay. So there was something else that was on my thoughts to ask you. Um, what is next for Laura? Where do you think you're going to go after this? Do you feel like you're going to dig deeper into the emotional code, or are there other things that are kind of calling out to you right now?
Yes, so I am continuing on with my emotion code journey as far as helping people. Eventually, I'm going to get certified in the body code because I do utilize it, and I it's just a step further essentially to continue that practice. And then I am being mentored by a Reiki master to I'm Kundalini Reiki certified to master level, but as far as the traditional Reiki, which is called Yusai Reiki, I'm only Reiki certified one. So I'm learning, I'm essentially on my journey to hone working with other people's energies and healing in that way. And also learning energy protection around myself because it's really important to protect yourself energetically when you're working with other people's energy. So just learning more and kind of going where I feel called. um, my friend has sent me her past life regression course that I can work at my own pace, so eventually in the future I'll probably go on that journey and just go where I'm called. But right now I'm really being called to do emotion code healing and just help people feel better. That's all I want to do. I love
Since
it. It's amazing.
since 2020, things have been a little bit crazy on the planet. Um, what have you noticed coming forward since then, and where do you feel things might be going energetically?
I just feel like consciousness is expanding. I feel like people are waking up to the truth about the world and where we live and who runs it. And just so many people are expanding. That's expansion is the word that keeps coming to mind. I feel like it's just I almost envision like a tree growing and branches going out and just things expanding, our consciousness expanding. I'm feeling my crown open up as I'm saying this. It's just beautiful to see people healing. I feel like there's so many people on their healing journeys, really digging deep, healing their inner child, and becoming more conscious parents as well. Or if you're not a parent, just more conscious humans. Just, I think there's a lot of it. I know there's a lot of of negative things as well, but I'm trying to focus more on the positives at this point in life.
I was just talking with a friend the other day about um it feels like this coming year, maybe 2 years, that there's so many people in the midst of waking up that there's going to be this influx of people that are going to need assistance from our
Hmm.
community. Do you sense
Yes.
that? And what do you get around
Yes.
that?
Yes. I feel like there are a lot of people being called to be light workers as well. And I do think that there needs to be, we all just need to help each other. I just feel like there needs to be this expansion of love and extending of compassion and grace just to our fellow humans. I just would make the world a much better place. But I agree that there's so many people waking up that we all need guidance and the help of others, and help with our healing as well. Just finding what path feels right to you, the path of least resistance, really the path that lights you up. I feel like that is where you should follow.
Do your kids show any extra abilities, extrasensory type abilities? Because it seems
Yes,
like these kids are
they,
coming in so
they
lit up.
are. They are. I believe, and I'm trying to learn how to nurture that. And yes, one of my daughters feels she feels other people's ailments on her body. She feels their emotions so deeply. So I want to teach her how to, separate herself from others while also having that, like, that's a beautiful ability, but you also need to care for yourself as well, and not just worry about others. Self-care. I've been learning self-care for myself personally and really trying to teach that for my kids as well. I think my oldest daughter, who I spoke of earlier on the spectrum, I think that she has incredible clairvoyant abilities. She doesn't really talk to me about them, but I know, I mean, she'll recite a movie and she's looking off and she's told me she's watching the movie. Like she sees what she's scripting. So I just feel like her clairvoyance is going to be incredible. I don't really know how to nurture her there just because she doesn't want to talk about it. I think it makes her nervous, or I'm not sure what, but eventually, hopefully we can talk about those things. But yes, I think that all my kids are extremely sensitive spiritually.
Mm.
And I think most kids are at this point. They're coming in hot, ready to change the world.
Oh, indeed they are. Indeed they are. Well, they're
Hmm.
lucky to have a mom like you to be on this journey
Oh,
with.
thank you. Thank you.
What kinds of things have come up? You mentioned a few times about protection and energy protection. Has there been any hard lessons in that arena for you?
I do feel like sometimes I can work with people, and I'll get my energy cleared from people that I trust as well, just with through Reiki or just energetic healers that I trust. And just yesterday, after I did some sessions, I felt this kind of weight on me, just low energy, kind of a denser energy. It wasn't depression because I don't struggle with that anymore, thankfully, but just like I was a little more irritable and I was just weighed down a little bit, which is kind of not typical for me at this point in life. And so I did a session with one of my spiritual mentors, Willow, and she said that she's like, yeah, you have an attachment here, probably from, someone you've worked on. And she cleared my crown because that can form some stagnant energy from people that you work on. So I'm kind of learning how to protect myself from that happening, and maybe that just happens, but I'm still learning for sure, because it is really important to protect that energy. I'm very into wearing protective crystal bracelets as well, and just keeping those on my body, and um, just different ways. I have a grounding mat as well. I love to ground outside, but it's like 9 degrees here, so a grounding mat is essentially like being barefoot on the earth but indoors, and it plugs into your plug, and you can stand on it, sit on it, and it grounds your energy down. It makes me feel so calm. I definitely recommend everyone getting a grounding mat if they don't have one.
Oh, absolutely. And we have one on our bed.
Yes.
And I had restless legs so bad and it went away. And if I go somewhere else
Wow.
for more than a few days and I'm
Yes.
sleeping in a strange bed and I don't have it, it comes back.
Wow. That okay. So reducing the inflammation, it's incredible for that. I encourage everyone to just go do some reading on earthing or grounding because
Yes.
if you see the pictures of lighting up someone's energy and inflammation 20 minutes before they ground and 20 minutes after, you see the inflammation leave their body. It's incredible. I mean, we are meant to be on the earth. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, I see your salt lamps. I have one over there. I love a salt lamp.
Oh, my husband's like, please stop buying them. It's like, we are
You do
not in a
not need
salt
any
room.
more.
Yeah, like I have to close this room off and turn all of them off in the living room because at night he likes it black, pitch black at night.
Dark,
But
dark. Yes.
um, as you were speaking earlier about energies, I'm curious if, okay, here's an example. We went to Waco. Long story short, wasn't my first choice for a vacation, but a previous vacation fell through with my daughter, so we had to use it because it was paid for. And we went to Waco, and when I was in that downtown area, I was so angry and agitated. It was
Mm-hmm.
like all the work that I had put in for the past decade
Yes. Mm-hmm.
dissipated. And I was just like, the second we drove out of town, our Airbnb was like 2 towns away. It was like a good 30-minute drive. I was normal again. There's something in the energy of the land.
Wow.
Are you able to clear land? Are you able to
Absolutely.
clear homes? How does that work?
Well, I'm not to a place where I know how to clear land. As far as homes go, I do some protective things. Selenite is a incredibly cleansing crystal. It not only cleanses other crystals, but it cleanses energy in the air as well. So, selenite, you can buy the raw sticks and you can put them on your door frames so that anything coming into your home, it's essentially absorbed and it's just energy protection. You can also smudge your home with sage or Palo Santo, protect it as well. But, and also your intention is so powerful too. Just knowing that nothing is welcome. That's not a positive and bringing your highest good. So that's kind of what I utilize. A salt lamp is very cleansing as well. And yeah, that's what I do personally.
And I would add it's important to say it as you're clearing. Like when I
Yes, yes,
burn,
our spoken word is very
open the
powerful.
door
Yes,
so it can go out the door and say, you're not welcome here.
yes,
This is a sacred space for only the highest benevolent beings of love and light. That's my mantra. You can make up your own.
absolutely. I love that. No, yes, absolutely.
But yeah, my husband travels for a living, so
Hmm.
there are days he walks in the house and I can tell, oh, shit is on him. You know,
Yes,
poor guy, but
yes.
he will come home a whole different personality even. It's not
Hmm.
even like it's a bad day at work. It's like I can sense something's attached to him and it's yeah. So that
Absolutely.
we have to be aware of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what do you have coming up, Laura, that people might be interested in, or talk a little bit about some of your offerings, share with everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I don't have any classes or anything coming up at this point. I my website is native spirit healing.shop, and I offer single sessions for $60 or 4 sessions for $180, and that's my pricing right now. And I offer Reiki in a combo with emotion code as well. So we release 5 to 10 trapped emotions, and then I go in and I usually pick 1 or 2 chakras that I can clear some stagnant energy out, get that flowing a little better if the client is open to that. And I also will speak some light language as well, light codes. And Yeah, it's fully remote. So I don't conduct my sessions with FaceTime or Zoom because I feel personally I can connect so much better with zero distractions. So I get my clients to get into a comfortable laying or seated position where they have no distractions and they can just kind of get into a meditative state. If they don't like to meditate, they can just put on some relaxing music and hang out. And that is when I tap in, and the sessions take about 20 minutes. So they're fairly quick. And the only instructions you need after is to drink a lot of water and to just take care of yourself. And I also, after the first couple sessions, if you're comfortable, we can do sessions while you go about your day. The healing still happens. But usually people like to kind of have a set time so they can feel the sensations that happen and connect to their body and see if any emotions come up. Sometimes there's an emotional purge. Sometimes you might need to cry. But most of the time, people just sense a lightness, like a weight has been lifted off of them. And but processing symptoms can happen. You can feel the echoes of those emotions for one day or two, and then it passes. But if you eat clean and take care of yourself and drink a lot of water and ground, then usually you are just good to go. And yeah, so I'm offering sessions at any time. My books are open, and it's just my passion. I love helping people heal and feel better.
And it just clicked for me. You told me, I believe you told me before our session, you are part Native Indigenous,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I'm
What
Cherokee
what's
Indian.
okay, Cherokee. And
Mhm.
that's indicative to your area, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I love kind of connecting to that part of my culture. And it's on my father's side. But I just have always connected to that part of my life. And feathers are everywhere for me. I find them everywhere. I see them everywhere. I'm very connected with birds and just the land and herbs. I've always been interested in natural healing, and our bodies are self healing. Give them the right tools, release the trapped emotions. Your body can heal itself. Our system is just incredible.
We could learn so much from the indigenous culture. I don't know if you can see up here. That's my jar of feathers.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
like you. I collect feathers like a crazy person.
yes, I love it. I just love it. I have a spirit guide named Chief, and he is one of my ancestors, and he helps guide me. It's just beautiful. He shows me feathers, and I don't know. It's just a beautiful part of my heritage.
Okay, now you just opened a whole new door for me to go down here. I I I swear I've had indigenous lifetimes because I am way too attached to that culture.
Yes.
For a white girl. I'm just like
Well,
I have
have you done any of the ancestry, the 23 and
as far
Me or
as
whatever?
physically,
Mm-hmm.
my bloodline, I don't believe I am. I guess I could be.
Mm-hmm.
But other people in the family that have done it, none of that has shown up. I just think
Okay.
there's other
Yes.
lifetimes out there.
Absolutely. You should do a past life regression.
Yeah, I've done some, but I
Oh,
never
you've
went
done
into
multiple.
that. I had somebody,
Okay.
a psychic, tell me once that I was a Chinese herbalist, and then I was also something indigenous. I can't remember, like a shaman or something like
Oh,
that.
I'm very interested in shamanism. I'm not very educated yet. I'm just kind of calling that info to come to me, and hopefully I can meet a shaman that can
Yes,
be my, yeah.
yes. But I feel you develop your own shamanism practices.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Trusting yourself, trusting your
yeah,
intuition, and then just going where you're guided has been my best tool, my best advice
yeah.
on
Because
spiritual journey.
you radiate a very grounded yet very powerful energy, is what I feel
Thank
from
you.
you.
Thank
And
you.
I really think you could create your own shamanistic,
Form.
and
Absolutely.
I'm gonna connect you with a friend of mine who's out in near Oklahoma City.
Yes, that's where I
She's
live.
she's being called as well for
Oh, I
shamanism.
would love that. Yes.
So
see these
maybe the two of
connections
you,
just happen
yeah.
organically. Yeah.
That's, and I have found from doing these podcasts that that's kind of one of my things is I connect people. And maybe
Okay.
that's why Millie and I get along so well because we're both
Because
that
she does that
use
same
I
thing.
see the energetic patterns and I go, ooh, these two, ooh, these two, oh, these need to connect.
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
it's so much
Yes,
fun. It's so much fun. And I
it is.
can't I hope I get to stay here for many more decades just to see how all of this unfolds.
Yes, it's a beautiful tapestry. I like to look at life as a tapestry. You might not understand it at first, but once you see the full picture, you can understand it.
Mm.
In the moment, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but
Absolutely, absolutely. Laura, it has been such a pleasure to speak with you today. I will put all of your info below so people can get in touch with you. And thank you so
thank
much
you.
for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, I appreciate you. Bye-bye, everybody.